Top stories aapne jaani, and now we are going to talk about Pak-Germany दोस्ती, specifically the celebration that we're going to have on 15th of October, क्योंकि 70 साल मुकम्मल होने जा रहे हैं पाकिस्तान और जर्मनी की दोस्ती को, और इस दोस्ती को celebrate करने के लिए, to celebrate this friendship, to celebrate this cordial ties, we have in our studios a very honorable guest, His Excellency Ambassador of Germany, Mr. Bernhard Schleckleck, and along with him we have the Managing Director of Siemens Pakistan, Mr. Marcus. Welcome to Bakhabar Savera. A very good morning and guten Tag.
Guten Tag. Guten Tag. Thank you
and
for having
it's
us.
an honor to have you on our show. Tell us, what was your first impression of our country when you first landed in Pakistan?
Well, I have to say, I have a very good Pakistani friend. I mean, from university.
Okay.
So I had already I would say, an image of Pakistan in my mind. I never traveled Pakistan.
Okay.
So as I came here, I have to say all the good things he has told me in the past during our university studies. I mean, they came true. Okay. And it's a really fascinating, a very diverse country. You know, food, poetry, landscape, and most of all, people.
So have you tried some of our food?
Yeah, I did. And
we saw a story related to Chersi Tikka.
Yeah. I tried to taste the food, and I know Marcus is even more, I would say, knowledgeable about Pakistani cuisine than I am. So this is one of the real pleasures you can have in Pakistan.
Since German cuisine is very different from Pakistan, and Pakistani cuisine is very spicy. So do you like spicy food here in Pakistan, Marcus?
Absolutely. I'm 30 years on the road, and I have also spent years in Indonesia, which it's also very spicy.
Yes.
And Pakistan is even beating that.
Yes, we like quite a few
Your
spicy
company
things.
has really strong ties with Pakistan. If like talking back in 1950, Siemens has invested a lot in health sector as well, and like since you have been stationed here from last 1 year, what do you expect before coming to Pakistan?
When I landed first,
Yeah.
I really thought, wow, we can do a lot of business here. That was my impression. But Siemens is liaised to Pakistan since 1870 because the old telegraph connection between London and Mumbai was reaching over Karachi. So that was the first time Siemens people were in Karachi. Okay. And we founded our office in 1922 in Lahore, our first office. And we were registering Siemens Pakistan at the stock exchange in 1953.
Okay, after the independence of Pakistan.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So we were one of the first companies, and since then we are here, we are successful. Of course, Siemens is changing shapes and businesses all the time. We are 175-year-old company, and that is also taking place in Pakistan. So we are in this business, and we are out of another, and we are getting in.
I have recently seen one of your interviews in which you were talking about that how Siemens helped CDA in establishing the power grid in Islamabad in 1980s.
You're right. The city of Islamabad is very new, and I'm very proud that Siemens was responsible for the electricity distribution network, which was again was produced here in Karachi. Okay. And that is until today one of our strongest businesses. We have 2 manufacturing sites just next to you in the neighborhood. Okay. We are doing very well. So here inside we are producing low voltage switchgear and medium voltage switchgear, which is relevant for cities, but also for factories and industries. Right now is a lot of industrial expansion going on in Pakistan, and we are really seeing good order books.
And you are right now you have imported some turbines for Port Qasim 3 as well.
Absolutely right. We are also very strong in power generation. Okay. We are working at the moment in 3 power plants, and Port Qasim is the next one to come online. So there were engines or turbines from Berlin, each 300 tons in weight.
Wow.
And His Excellency was also there to witness the progress.
I saw his tweet as well. Since Germany and Pakistan are working really hard to strengthen their ties, and lately we have seen that the Foreign Minister of Germany, he met Foreign Minister of Pakistan along with the Chief of Army Staff. How did that meeting go, and what were your expectations from the meeting?
Well, I mean, the meeting of the Foreign Minister with Foreign Minister Qureshi had, I would say, 2 major purposes. One, of course, was to take stock of the bilateral relations. I mean, in the light of 70 years of diplomatic relations, and of course to look forward bilaterally, but then of course it was heavily dominated by the ongoing and unfolding situation in Afghanistan, of course, where both of our countries have, of course, interest, and it's very good to exchange views on the situation.
And it was quite a short trip, but there were quite a few meetings. Tell us about the effort that Pakistan has made during the evacuation from Afghanistan, and the diplomatic staff, especially German diplomatic staff. Are you satisfied with the progress that Pakistan have made so far in this?
Well, we are not only satisfied, we are very grateful to Pakistani government and a number of agencies involved in actually assisting Germany in bringing not only their citizens but also the at-risk Afghans who had worked for German interests in Afghanistan, be it the embassy, be it our army, the Bundeswehr there, be it German NGOs or German development agencies, via Pakistan back to Germany. And I think that was really, I would say it was decisive. And we are really grateful for that.
When we talk about Afghanistan's situation, the international community emphasizes on inclusive government, that Taliban should create an inclusive government. So what is your definition of an inclusive government?
Well, I think my definition of inclusivity, which perhaps is not necessarily shared by rulers in Kabul, consists of, representative of minorities, ethnic and religious minorities, and of course, and very importantly so, of women.
Okay.
That is very
I have to say, I mean, under that, I would say, conditions, the now caretaker government in Kabul does not, I would say, fit the definition.
So what are the Germany's main concerns about Taliban government in Afghanistan?
Well, I mean, it's the, I would say, genuine human rights concern. We want what we saw from words emanating from Kabul, I mean, we saw all the right things. I mean, giving rights to girls and women, I mean, accepting human rights standards. But I mean, we all know we have to take them at their words.
Yes.
And I mean, the proof of the pudding is the eating.
Okay.
So we will see.
So, Mr. Marcus, tell us about the vision of Siemens and how do you plan to contribute to our society?
I think we need to go out a bit more and explain what we have in our portfolio. And I start with the smallest. I think right now the decision to go on electric vehicles is a very good decision.
Yeah.
And Siemens is also supporting through our huge portfolio of electric chargers, which is important because you want to charge your car in a very short time, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, right? So we are bringing these products here, or electricity storage.
Okay.
And what we have here in Karachi in our manufacturing is also doing great. And we're really full right now, producing for the country's demand. But it also goes over into the transmission grid, because we have a lot of power, but we need to bring it from city to city. So that is also some very important part where we are doing very well. And I believe that will have a good outlook in future.
That means that we need to expect more ventures in Pakistan.
But let me also open up the other side of Siemens, because we probably have above 50% market share in wind power. Siemens Gamesa is the biggest renewable energy EPC in the world, and we do really great in Pakistan. So the wind power expansion, renewable energy, and hopefully
even the solar power as well.
Solar power, we do have our inverter technology. The panels, I think we all know where they come from. But the electrical part behind the panels, we all have in-house.
Because we have a power plant in Garo, and we are producing the energy from here, and Siemens is the major technical supplier.
Yes, of course. Garo is a showcase, really well done. I was myself there. I had a look.
Yes.
Perfect. It's the sample I would recommend everyone to have a look at. And we also got now additional 3 of the same size. I don't disclose the name, but it's progressing well. We are recognized well in that sector. But beside wind power, Siemens is also in healthcare. So we have Siemens Healthineers up in Lahore. We are also having a very good market share. Beside that, a company that just got a presidential award for exporting of IT services. It is maybe not really known that this is a 100% Siemens company, but Mentor Graphics has 120 software engineers in Lahore and is doing exclusive software development for.
And how would this work?
For the US.
This Mentor Graphics, how would this work?
Look, Mentor Graphics is a very large and sophisticated company in the US, and they are doing virtual simulations, software for chip production, and these kind of sophisticated designs.
Okay.
And decoding and the development, the R&D partially is done in Lahore. So I also wish to expand this, and expand this also in a very gender conscious way. I would really love to have more females at those kind of jobs, because then they can work from home, from remote. And I think it's an ideal way to bring your additional resource into the job market.
And of course, it would generate more jobs in
Yes,
Pakistan.
obviously, it will create more jobs and opportunities. Mr. Ambassador, there are so many students, who want to go to Berlin in Germany, and they want to study and they apply for the visas. So, are you doing something about that? Because post-COVID, the situation is quite difficult for them to apply.
No, I mean, people-to-people contact, including students, exchanges, on both sides, is extremely important for diplomatic relations. I mean, as you said, we are celebrating 70 years with a number of events, but people-to-people, that's extremely important, because this is the backbone of each and every relations. So we are trying to foster and promote student exchange. We have roughly, I would say, 5,000 Pakistani students in Germany. I agree. I mean, due to the pandemic, that was a bit hampered, but still, we try to, move forward here. We have even some Germans here studying in Lahore and in Karachi. So I think this is the way to go. And I think that is also the background for, further industrial and economic relationship. Because, you are educating, you are training people who at the end will work for companies like Siemens here in Pakistan, or for German companies in Germany.
So right. And Mr. Ambassador, it's not just about the political and the economical ties, but I've seen that Germany is extensively working to extend the ties towards highlighting Pakistan culture outside the world. Like lately you have just conducted a short film festival. Please tell us about it.
Well, indeed, in Germany, I think the rich heritage of Pakistan and South Asian culture as a whole is not that well known. And I think there's also, and I would say there's also a task for an embassy, for a German embassy. Of course, also the Pakistani embassy, and my good friend Mohammed Faisal is at the helm there, and he's also very actively trying to promote not only economic relations, but also the cultural things. I think here again you see what is the backbone of a relationship, and you have to, you have to promote and you have to inspire people to, deal with one another and each other, and that's what we are trying to do.
So, Mr. Ambassador, Pakistan has the motto that we want trade, not aid. So, what steps are being taken by both the countries to increase the volume of the trade? Because now we see that, if we want investment in our countries, so the stability is there. Pakistan has suffered a lot from war on terror, and, we have suffered a great deal of casualties and, loss to infrastructure. But now the situation is better. Do you know there are more opportunities to, invest in Pakistan?
Well, potential is there. Marcos might perhaps elaborate on that. Potential is there, but still, we have seen the FDI, the foreign direct investment, decreasing over the last couple of years, unfortunately. So I think there is still some work to do for Pakistan and for Pakistan trade policy. And I think that's very important. Pakistan is the least integrated trade nation in the region. But even on the global scale, it's very, very purely integrated. And that, I think the government has understood that.
Yes.
But that has to change.
But there is a supplementary question. Do we export anything to Germany as of now?
Absolutely. We have a trade volume of roughly 3 billion per year. That is a figure before the pandemic, but still, I think we have made up. So we are roughly 2.6, 2.7 billion per year. And Pakistan has a trade surplus.
Good.
So a lot of textiles, leather.
So we are exporting more and importing less from Germany.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. But again, I think here we should also, or the Pakistani side should also, they have to move up the value chain. It's textile, it's leather, it's surgical instruments, but it needs to be ICT. It needs to be, because there's a lot to be shown in this country.
And a lot to be explored in Pakistan. Okay, let's talk about the preps regarding the 70th Pakistan and Germany friendship. So what are you planning to do on that day specifically? Or should we look forward to see a foreign minister of Germany? Should we look forward to see him in Pakistan?
Well, that I don't know. But what we are doing...
I've seen your tweet.
Well, but what we are doing now is, I mean, we are looking forward to roughly 2 months of what we call German weeks. It's a kickoff here in Karachi now with the German frigate, which is here. Yes, I mean, for a, I would say, naval visit, and the first visit of a German business delegation, high-ranking business delegation.
They have some important meetings this week.
Absolutely, since the pandemic struck. Okay. So that is also, I would say, a watershed moment.
We are showing the images of that frigate.
That's a frigate here, and that is, of course, I would say, an important...
It's a tri-nation exercise.
Yes.
I mean, United States, Pakistan, and Germany.
They had sort of, I would say, a passing exercise in the Arabian Sea just some days ago, and the ship is now here. There are some receptions, I mean, all under SOP, COVID SOPs, but I think this is a great sign of partnership and friendship between Pakistan and Germany. But there are other events following in Lahore, in Islamabad, and on the October the 15th, there will be the main flagship event with the Pakistani Foreign Minister.
We have heard some good news. I mean, and I want you to tell our viewers about it. We heard that Lufthansa seems to start working in Pakistan after an absence of 13 years.
Well, I think this is premature. But I saw the Secretary of the Board of Investment the other day, and I told her that Lufthansa will be in that high-ranking business delegation. So far, no decisions made.
But we hope so. We are being optimistic.
Yes, I think it's a good sign. That is a good sign that Lufthansa is part of this delegation.
So Marcus, is it still in the pipeline?
Look, the visit of this delegation in German is called AHK, or it's the Overseas Chamber of Commerce in English. And they are coming with a big delegation this Sunday and stay a few days in Karachi and Islamabad. It's really important because it creates trust. And my purpose welcoming the delegation at Siemens is to show that you can be successful over decades in Pakistan, and I will also do my very best to invite them to set up their own operations in Pakistan. That's the purpose, to generate trust, to bring German business people in, and it overall means that that Chamber of Commerce has recognized the potential and the right trend here in Pakistan.
God willing.
So Marcus, I mean, like, since you represent Siemens, but do you know how many German companies are currently working in Pakistan?
I would be the wrong one to know. I think we will visit the overseas...
Roughly 40.
40. Right. That's a great deal. And tell us about your project, Shana Bashana.
I'll come to that, but let me jump also to another very interesting cultural point. His Excellency maybe will also speak later on about it, but there's a new head of the Goethe Institute. The Goethe Institute is the German Language Institute, and to answer your question before, I think it's so important that you pick up German skills already in home country before you are then going to Germany to study. Yeah? So that I believe has now received...
She came in today, and she's the head of the Goethe Institute, which is our cultural and language institute here in Karachi. And I can only invite all people in Karachi and around to just stroll into the Goethe Institute and see what we have to offer.
Okay, so that would be a
we
great
can apply
idea.
for that, right? I can
Absolutely,
go there.
you can.
Wow. Okay, we have one very serious question to ask you. Lately, we have seen a video of you riding an 80-year-old bicycle.
Yeah.
Was it yours? You bought it from a museum, or you bought it for someone?
No, it's the bike.
Can you please show this to the audience with the car?
Cycle ke images.
Okay.
Were you going to work or on a meeting to foreign ministry?
Yeah, I went to the foreign ministry on the bike. And you see I have the flag
I am.
But
I
I
mean,
mean,
you ride
it's-
faster than me. I mean,
it's,
like.
it's my grandfather's bike.
Wow.
And I took it with me to all places, to Russia, to Nigeria, to Israel. Now
So it has
in
an emotional
Pakistan.
value. for you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And it works such. I mean, fast.
No,
I
it's
mean,
90 years old.
It's 90 years old.
So,
So do you do that quite often?
Yeah, I'm using the bike in Islamabad. I mean, the diplomatic enclave is very close to the Foreign Ministry. So if I have to go, particularly very swiftly to the Foreign Ministry, it's much easier to take the bike than to ask, where's my car and all that.
So it's
So
part of
that-
your daily routine.
Yeah.
Wow,
To
that's
some
amazing.
extent.
That is why
People
he's,
learn from him.
so good,
if
mashallah.
he
He's
can
so
ride a
sick.
bicycle on daily routine, why can't you, bhai?
But we can't in Karachi.
Petrol बचाएं अपना.
I mean, as you have seen, the roads are they are being made.
I think that's the point.
That is the
That's
point. So tell us, there is one more issue, that is of quite concern to Pakistan. That is the Kashmir issue. Kashmir has been the burning issue between India and Pakistan for the past 70 odd years. Almost 1 lakh Kashmiris have lost their lives and they are currently under siege. So, do you think the international community and especially the powerful countries like Germany should do more about this in this regard?
Well, I
In
think,
resolving the conflict?
well, I think, this conflict is pending at the United Nations still. And we have tried to be helpful. Of course, we have made clear to both sides that we want to see a understanding, side of dialogue about it. I know that's difficult for the moment for different reasons. We have also made clear to the Indian side that we are aware and concerned about some human rights violations. And we are talking to our Pakistani friends that we would love to see here again more engagement and dialogue. I mean, we have seen some, I think, good developments. I mean, the agreement between the militaries on the line of control.
Yes.
This is a good thing.
Ceasefire agreements,
Yes, I think we have to move on that path.
Mr. Marcus, one last question. There are so many people watching on the national television in the country, and they would love to apply in Siemens. What's the procedure?
Just Google jobs at Siemens and you will find our application, but it has jobs all around the world. So it's not only about jobs in Pakistan, but you can select what you want and where you want it. Shana Bashana is our initiative to get more ladies on board and give engineers or graduates from a polytechnicum.
So I also have a chance in Shana Bashana if I ever get jobless.
You graduated already.
Thank you so much, Mr. Marcus and His Excellency, Mr. Burnhill was with us. Thank you so much for honoring us with your presence in our show.
It's been a pleasure. I hope you enjoy the stay in Pakistan and especially in Karachi.
And you love our spicy food as well.
Thank you.
जी तो छोटी सी ब्रेक की तरफ हम जा रहे हैं. ब्रेक के बाद मिलते हैं, हमारे साथ रहिएगा.